nothing against Sally, of course, but when people are late to a meeting and it's because they have a long drive, I'm like, you, or however long your drive is, you plan in order to be there on time. I can't go late to work every day because I have to drive from St. Pete, you know? I don't, that always puzzles me when people say, oh, well, they have a long drive. I'm like, well, you know, if they get behind an accident, of course, I understand that. But
there was one day coming down here and they had tied up, Myrtle was all tied up.
I think that was our last meeting.
Yeah.
East Avenue was blocked in some way. You had to go all the way down, turn around, and come back up.
Well, anything like that, that's certainly understandable. And I think several people got here later than they anticipated because of that last time.
Is Hoyt coming? Because this will probably be
Hoyt is out of town.
Oh, so this will probably, is this his last?
This will be his last, because April 28th is the next meeting.
More detailed than what we've done before.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, I guess today's meeting of the Sister Cities Advisory Board is called to order on January 27th, 2022. Welcome, everyone. The members of the Sister Cities Advisory Board were appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. The board has been directed to advise the City of Clearwater's Sister Cities Cultural Exchange Program on behalf of the citizens of Clearwater. Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall at the entrance to chambers. Please remember to turn off your cell phones and electronic devices. To ensure a complete record of the board's actions, we ask each individual wishing to speak to clearly state your name and spell your last name for the clerk. Roll call. Will members of the board and staff please introduce themselves? So we can go counterclockwise, starting with Mr. Hubbard.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christopher Hubbard, Cultural Affairs Coordinator.
Okay.
Candy Hayes from the Clearwater Sister Cities representative.
Sally Parks.
Michael Ballard.
And Benton.
Okay, our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of the board's last meeting. Are there any changes or corrections?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meetings are approved. Hey. Is there anyone here to speak to items not on the agenda?
Speak it all.
Not seeing anyone. Okay, so moving on to new business items, review and update on the status of the Nagano exchange programs. Mr. Hubbard.
Good afternoon again. I'm going to read since it's been a long week and my memory is a little foggy. And so 2021 was a very quiet year for the Sister Cities Exchange Program. The students selected for the 2020 trip met in October to review the exchange video that was sent to us by Nagano's Ichiritsu High School and to discuss a response video. One of the students supplied video footage, and although I had emailed them to the point of seeming irritating, at least to me, Visit St. Pete Clearwater hadn't sent anything to me to include. I know that the year-end holidays made for some difficult scheduling and things like that, so once I returned to the office after the new year, I picked back up again. And then thankfully, finally, I heard back from them on Monday, and they said they were going to get something to me by the end of this week. I am going to cross all my crossable digits and hope that they can send me something. If not, I'll get back on the irritation bugging schedule for them. Prior to New Year's, the members of Clearwater Sister Cities, Inc. And employees at City Hall created lanterns to send to the annual Nagano Tamyo Lantern Festival. And unfortunately, the festival has become another casualty of Omicron, as it has been canceled for this year. Now, Nagano will be posting all of their designs online, and they'll be hosted at https://nagano-tomyo.com. So that's nagano-tamyo.com. I'll send notice when the website is up and when Clearwater's lanterns are viewable, so that we'll be able to see our designs in addition to the others presented in Nagano. I also received an update to my regular communications with Nagano International Relations last week. Soto-san has said that Omicron has been spreading faster than anticipated through Nagano, and perhaps not as rapidly as here in Florida or the United States, but certainly at a quick pace and enough for him to comment on its speed, which leads me to feel like it's moving fairly quickly through their population. As of today, Japan's borders are closed to all new foreign arrivals until at least February 2022. He said that Nagano's leadership feels it may be necessary to cancel the 2022 exchange trips and asked for our city's stance on this. He goes on to say that they hope to have our mayors meet in 2024 for the 65th anniversary, but is even cautious in his language about this. So my question to the board is, does the board have any input or discussion that you'd like for me to bring to city leadership on this update as far as sort of the future for exchanges? I know it's very much a topic in flux as things happen and as we identify new variants. But at least we can have a discussion on our side of what our response may be, and that I can bring it back to city leadership to prepare something for Nagano in reply.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering, is there a possibility of doing anything virtual? I mean, that's kind of, I don't know exactly what that might be, but I'm just thinking that, to keep connected is really important, and it it's not just you, but it's the city leaders on both sides and so on. So, maybe we could do a little brainstorming or suggesting or whatever. We're all getting very used, I Zoom all the time with my
Right.
friends in Tokyo, so, it's not foreign to them or us.
I know that they've recently had a mayoral election and have a new mayor in Nagano City. It might be a nice gesture for Mayor Hibbard to record a welcome to their new mayor.
Right.
So that's something I can bring back as well. At least, have something official and have some interaction back and forth.
Sally, I don't know if you were here when we talked about the video earlier, but
I wasn't. So.
Ichiritsu High School, which is the school that we exchange with, sent us a really cute video, a very, very nice one. And it had footage from the city of Nagano, and it had video of students who've come here before, students who were hoping to come here in the future, and it showed the schools and things like that. So Chris and I met with the kids who were supposed to go year before last now?
They were 2020.
Yeah, so year before last. The ones who were supposed to go, three of them are still in school. And so they met with us, and they went out and they took some photographs and a little bit of video at their schools and sent that to me. So I have that. I had a student, Elaine Danielson. I don't know if any of you remember Elaine, but she went on the trip. I don't know. She's a junior in college now, so however many years ago that was. And she was going to put the video together for me. She was just going to do it. But sadly, she contracted COVID just before Christmas break and was down sick the entire time, and then went back to college. So I will put together the video. What I'm waiting for now is the footage from the city of Clearwater. So we're hopeful, as Chris said, that we'll get that soon. And we'll send that back. In addition to that, at Plum Harbor University High and at Countryside High, the students who were anticipating going and some of their friends who are in some sort of multicultural club at their school have written letters, pen pal letters, and I sent those to Fumi at Ichiritsu, and their English club is working on answers to those. And so the kids went ahead and hand wrote their letters, and then we photographed those, and I sent them digitally. And so they're doing the same thing. They're handwriting so they can decorate and make them very personal, and then they're going to send those back to us. So I'm actually expecting to get those any day now and be able to deliver it. So there is a little bit of exchange going on there, and hopefully we'll have our video done in the next month or so.
So Sally, for us, we've kind of had the same thing. We have an elementary school in Nagano that has sent us pen pal letters. We had students before school ended last summer answer. I just, like 2 weeks ago, got their responses back, which I find difficult because with us, the middle school kids now are in high school, and it's hard to gather everyone back up, but I'm trying in that process. And I have a few kids that were going to go on the trip that did some letters. And they did send us a video from the elementary school, and it's more about Nagano, and there's no students in it because they don't want us to put the kids' pictures out, but I did get approval that I can put that video on our Facebook page. So we are trying to do some things, but we're having a hard time with our students to keep them interested because we have nothing to offer them at this point. So I think we are, in a way, trying to keep something, but I do like the mirror-to-mirror.
I think that's a great idea.
Reach out.
Trying to at least keep that communication line open.
Yeah. And you asked some input. I did kind of look at the restrictions, and I know the borders were closed, and at one time it was like a 2-week quarantine before you could go in, and that just doesn't work for any of our students in the amount of time that we can go. And I thought maybe a decision was going to be made in late March, which for us is very difficult to get a trip together in that short of time.
Yeah, late March for me, for the teacher exchange would be far too late.
Yeah.
To be able to get the visa paperwork done, there's no way we could do it if it were March. I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on the teacher
That's-
exchange
yeah,
in the next week.
I mean, I feel like they're, I don't want to say posturing, but at least preparing the potential inevitable of saying 2022 is not going to happen. I think they're just sort of getting us ready for that.
Yeah.
If I might just add, Candy, I'm looking at you now. Sister Cities does some really fun things with adults, and it might be fun to see if somebody could videotape that and include it, because there's, you know, we're a part of the celebrations of various Japanese holidays and gatherings and what have you. So I think it would be, you know, I'd love to see it if I were, you know, if there were a friendship program, which there was at one time but no longer there, see what's kind of going on related to Sister Cities.
We are, that would be in my report coming up.
Yeah.
We're trying to work on a virtual event,
Mm-hmm.
and certainly we could invite our contacts in Nagano
Yeah.
to be part of it as well.
Mm-hmm. Say hello. Yeah.
And depending on the platform, we might be able to record as well, and then, you know, send some snippets of it over and say, you know, sort of, we got together, wishing you well, or, you know,
Mhm.
something similar.
Mm-hmm.
Think about our friendship in Japan and
Yeah.
Yeah.
continue it and so on.
Okay. Any other input or anything that you'd like me to bring forward?
My suggestion would be that the city could make it easier for Japan by saying we don't feel like it's safe to do the 2022 exchanges. I don't think that it's safe, and I don't think that it's feasible. And I think the longer that it's drawn out, the harder it is for like the kids who are really hoping to go. I think it would be better to let them know that unfortunately, no, the trip is not going to take place, but we'd like to get together and we'll do, you know, something else,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So it would be nice, I think, to have a decision sooner than later.
Okay.
I think that's really true, that, you know, it just kind of leaves everybody a little bit embarrassed, frankly, to, you know, to not get a decision. And so,
Sure.
you know, kind of help them get off the hook, if you will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, from their perspective, a definitive no is
Yeah.
almost impossible.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so I think Clearwater could take the lead on that.
Yep. Yeah, we can definitely move with that. I know that our new city manager is very much sort of let's get things taken care of, and so I have a feeling that he'll back that. So I will bring that forward to him and senior management.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
In reality too, the teacher exchanges usually are in the fall. So you wouldn't have, would that be the whole year of 2022 or just
Just the summers?
the summer?
But the teacher exchange is not in the fall. Our teachers go there in the summer at the same time the high school kids are there. But our teachers stay for 5 weeks and the high school kids stay between 10 and 14 days. It's their people who come here in October. And, you know, if things were better, I mean, I think that could be left open. I think that we would probably be able to find host families, and, you know, the school system is pretty much operating as normal, so I don't think it would be a problem for me to schedule the teacher to visit the schools if they wanted to send their teacher. But I don't think very soon, like after next week, it won't be feasible for me to send teachers, because just the time that it takes to get the visas approved is going to be out. Usually I have that paperwork submitted by mid-December, and, you know, here we are at February, so.
But I think that's a nice gesture, though, Pam, to, and you also mentioned it too, Candy, about, you know, kind of saying, doors open,
Mhm.
if it's still, feasible and everybody can stay healthy and
Right.
safe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We would still like to host the teacher here.
Mhm.
And the high school students too. I mean,
Right.
if we think it's safe enough, I mean, we'd be delighted to have them here, so.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate your input and feedback.
Okay, next item on the agenda, review and update on the progress of Sister Cities discussions with Borja's friends.
Okay. Well, communications are back up and running with them, and they're interested in a conference in February to discuss the terms and parameters of what a cultural exchange program would look like. This is a natural progression and the next step beyond our council's resolution to pursue the sister city designation with Borja. With this discussion, we would define what focus the relationship would take, likely economics, commerce, tourism, and education, and how reciprocal travel exchange programs would work post-COVID or any future variants. They've requested a conference the week of February 14th, and naturally this would need to take place hopefully in the morning, as they are 6 hours ahead of us as far as timing. Pam and I was going to ask Member Brewster, but I will communicate with him via email. For the week of February 14th, would you have any availability that week to assist?
Let me check.
Christopher, is the business from Borja's France still going strong here?
Monin is producing quite a bit. They actually saw a lot of people turning towards syrups as comfort at home, and the personal purchases went up. There was a dip in restaurant purchases, and cafes in 2020, but they're seeing it start to come back now as we're sort of getting into a kind of split, one foot on one side or the other.
I could do Monday, Tuesday, or Friday morning.
Okay.
And I'd like to pencil something in as quickly as possible because my schedule does tend to fill up.
Okay. I will get you an answer by, how we say, Wednesday of next week?
Sounds good?
Okay.
Sally, as a side note, and my memory sometimes fails me, but I thought when the pandemic first started that Moen here changed their factory to make hand sanitizer.
They did.
A little bit
Yep.
to help.
I guess I did know that and I forgot.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really nice,
Yes.
Good pivot.
yeah.
It's surprising, now that I know that that company is here and that it's related, I see the syrup everywhere I go. I mean, everywhere. It's everywhere, so that's kind of cool. I never noticed it before, I'd never heard of it before, but now I see it everywhere, so.
Yeah. I know they've expanded. Member Ballard was talking about opening a new area in Sparks, Nevada. So they're doing quite well, which is good to have, this international company here in Clearwater.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Any further discussion on Borja?
So, I'm sorry, once more, you're trying to set up a conference call or what?
Yes, a conference call with them to have back and forth discussion, just so we can formalize that process per the Sister Cities International, and
Yes.
get that put into an agreement that each city could sign and enact officially the Sister City relationship. Now, the council did pass a resolution dedicating our interest to it, but this would just be sort of the
Formalizing
formal
it.
step, yeah.
Mhm. So does Sister Cities International have some kind of template for this?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, we can draw from that. Usually it's not a fairly complex document, but it says how often the how often the cities would meet, what the parameters of the exchange are. If it is an educational exchange, what shape would that take, et cetera.
Okay. Good, thank you. Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, next item on the agenda, review and update on the council-adopted 2022 to 2028 Cultural Arts Strategic Plan and expanded programs of exchange with Nagano and other online media.
Okay. So December 16th, the City Council passed our Cultural Arts Strategic Plan. And that, as Chair Ballard had said, it covers 2022 to 2028. Now, we do have implementation funding for that, with the lion's share in this first year, and then going 5 years into the future, at which, we will evaluate and see if we need to dedicate more funding. As part of that, there is the desire to make our website more user-friendly as far as cultural affairs. And so I'm working on a massive overhaul of that website following the plan being enacted. Now, the entire system would be updated to be more visually navigable, more user-friendly, and it'll be home to a cultural amenities finder, an artist database, and the Sister Cities repository that we've been hoping to get online. We'll be able to host galleries of exchange images, have ties to our partners in the community with Sister Cities Inc., host images, media files, a site for applications with an easy URL for students to be able to find, and then video as well, being able to host those in basically a app format where you just click on the box and it takes you there, rather than click, submenu, click, go through here, open this folder. And so I anticipate that this will be done in March, and that by our April 28th meeting, we'll be able to drive it together and take a look at it. We will have what they call a friendly URL, so it'll be myclearwater.com/cultural arts, myclearwater.com/sister cities, and make it much easier and simpler for us to give out the URL at community meetings, at schools, etc., to encourage people to come and utilize it.
Cool.
Sounds great.
On that same note, Christopher, probably everybody here gets the Clearwater magazine. Magazine, is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Booklet that comes out every couple of months. Will we always have a presence in there too?
Cultural Affairs does have an active section in there
Right.
that's always reserved.
Mm-hmm.
We do our best to try and have timely information in there, but as a quarterly magazine, it's almost as if as soon as we put it in there, it's older information.
Mm-hmm.
So the website will be a lot easier to update, and we've got a public communications representative that's able to jump on there and do it rather quickly for us as far as any updating. So gone are the days of put in a request, wait for the request, hopefully cross our fingers that it gets on there. They're very timely these days in getting things updated and are very flexible and open to that really user-friendly kind of interface.
Great.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on that topic?
Chris, did you mention expansion of the Nagano exchanges?
Oh, that's like the online exchange,
Okay.
essentially being
Gotcha.
the repository.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, if nothing else, then the next item on the agenda, election of officers.
Are there nominations for chair?
I nominate Michael.
I second. Okay.
And of course, I am smiling underneath the mask. I kind of thought that might happen.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So you could do vice.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We want you to lead the
You can do
vice
vice
chair of
chair.
election.
Okay. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
Who is our vice chair?
Me.
Ms. Beth.
Oh, well,
Go
I'll
ahead.
nominate Pam to be the vice chair.
Second.
All in favor? Or is there, are there
I
other?
was gonna say, are there any other nominations? Do you want
Are
to do
there
it?
any other nominations?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
That was tough.
Okay. Then moving on to old business items. Review and discuss an update on the Sister Cities Young Ambassador Scholarship.
So this is something that I want to make sure that we take some action on before Councilmember Hamilton leaves office, because he's been a very strong proponent for funding of the program and the exchange. So council had agreed to put forward a $3,700 scholarship fund for Sister Cities, Inc. to be able to utilize for scholarships. Now, this could be split, this could be broken down into smaller increments, but what we would need to do is take it back to council to be able to access those funds. So we've got the opportunity, but we have to act quickly to be able to get it on the March 3rd agenda, which would be Councilmember Hamilton's last council meeting. So I'd like to just discuss with the board here. The council had originally said, you know, what's the definition of hardship? And we took a stab at it earlier, but it was one of those that's very difficult to pinpoint as far as the mechanism for determining that. We walk a line of, you know, if we go the way of free or reduced lunch, there's a lot of students that have free or reduced lunch. In fact, some whole schools have that. If we go the way of economic ability, you know, there are some families that might not feel comfortable disclosing that. And so we don't want to make it onerous for a family to apply for it for their student. You know, this is meant to be an assistance, sort of a you know, proponent helping the students get to Japan for our program. So I just wanted to see if the board had any input or advice on that, so I could get it into the system and have something, you know, before Councilmember Hamilton departs.
What do you think, Pam? The ball is in
Well,
your court.
I mean, it is touchy. With other scholarships that I work on for the Education Foundation, and then we have some internal ones for the World Language Teachers Association, we ask them for the number of people in the household, and we give them ranges of income level. And
Well,
then
that's a good idea.
we don't require them to give us proof of any kind, but that's how we handle it with the other groups. Now, with the Education Foundation, it could be that the Education Foundation actually gathers evidence, I don't know. But I know with our WLTA scholarships, we always ask for the income range. And so, you know, if there are 11 people living in the household and they're in the 80 to 100,000 range, that is very similar to 2 people in the household in the $50,000 range, you know.
Exactly.
So, you know, you can kind of balance it that way. I don't know how specific it needs to be. And I don't know, you know, what the burden of proof is. I don't know, you know, what kind of evidence might be required. But we kind of leave it to the honor system. And I don't feel like it's been taken advantage of. We've been doing this a long time. That's not to say that somebody couldn't, you know, but.
I think the ability to track data and metric as far as those conditions at which the families are utilizing it would be helpful to the council to be able to say, you know, here is the information. These are documented Clearwater residents. That was one of their conditions, that they need to be a resident taxpayer in the city of Clearwater. So I know that that would certainly be helpful. Pam, do you know if the Education Foundation has any other inputs aside from the World Language Teachers Association information?
I guess I'm not understanding you.
So you had said the number of household and then the income range for the
Those are the two. The Education Foundation, so the way that it works, they manage several hundred scholarships.
Okay.
And so the students put in one application, and then each of the scholarships has different requirements. And so they're able to use that database to figure out which students qualify for which scholarships. And then, for example, one of them that we manage is the Beth Marshner Scholarship. And so in the Beth Marshner Scholarship, we're identifying students who have taken 4 or more years of high school Spanish and who want to pursue a career in education. Specifically, foreign language education would be our top priority. However, there are very few of those. Education or international something, international business, international law, that sort of thing. And so they're able to pull the applications. We generally get about 50 students who qualify, and then we have our own rubric within that. And they have a section on the information they send us that says the income range of the family and the number of dependents in the household. And so we take that into consideration on our rubric. And we have 7 or 8 people on our committee, and as we evaluate all 50 of those students according to our rubric, we take that's part of the rubric. And it's a point system that we give, and it's a 0 to 5, so according to need.
Okay. Thank you.
What would you think, Pam and others, about the possibility of the applicant, the student, actually writing some kind of brief, 2-paragraph why I should get this? I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me I would find it reveals a lot of their personality, and they say what they want to say. I mean, if they want to say, you're the poorest church mouse, or I'm on free and reduced lunch, or whatever, just be interesting to hear what they have
That
to
is
say.
another part. And with the rubric, for the Education Foundation, they do an essay. It's quite an extensive application. It takes them a couple of hours to fill out. And so we get all of that information. And I will say that essay always is very heavy. We sort the students by need is very high in the first stage. And then in the second stage, when we've narrowed it down to about 10 students that we're considering, the essay weighs very heavily. And, it really does tell you a lot about the personality of the student and who they are. We also can consider things like, for us, it's world languages, so are they involved in the honor society? Are they involved in the clubs? Have they volunteered using their language in any way? Have they, that sort of thing. So we look at a lot of those things. So I think we could come up with a list of things, or, the board could come up with a list of things if we wanted, some kind of more extensive application. And I think an essay is an excellent idea because it does kind of give you an idea about the students.
We do have we have our own scholarship that we try to do as well. And we do have an application that we ask them to fill out. We also do require a essay, I'm sorry. And for us too, it does help us to see, are they just looking for a free trip, or are they really interested? And that's what we want to find out, if they're really interested in doing a cultural exchange, and do they really want to go? And that kind of helps you can see what they're writing about to kind of help determine that. We don't really do ours on needs-based, but we do try to help those that we can get there. And we've been able to do that a few times. So, I think I did maybe provide you a while ago.
Yes.
I could do that again, but kind of basically what you...
I guess I'm not entirely clear on what you need from us.
No, this has been helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. it's just sort of providing at least a little bit more information to the council to help them feel confident that needs are being met with the scholarship, and that we can report back and say, we've gotten this information from the family, and we will keep track of that over the years as far as, where city funds for those scholarships are going and to what need.
So would it help, Christopher, if we did make a motion saying we'd like to see this, Young Ambassadors Scholarship continue, and we've made some recommendations, and then you can subset the recommendations that we've discussed today?
Yep, the only correction I would make is to begin the scholarship.
Begin the scholarship, right.
We do have the high school scholarship that's gone on, but this would be the first time that we would, or rather, this would be the initiation of this particular scholarship to assist with young ambassadors. So, a motion would be very helpful.
I'll make that in the form of a motion then, that we ask the city council to initiate the Sister Cities Young Ambassador Scholarship Program.
I'm having a little hard time.
Sure, it's hard with the mask on, I know. So I'm asking for us to send to the city council the message that we would like the Sister Cities Young Ambassador Scholarship to be initiated, and that we've made some general recommendations for the scholarship parameters. I don't know what parameters.
Criteria. And I second that.
Yeah. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion on that item, we'll move to the director's report, review and update from the president of Clearwater Sister Cities Incorporated.
I kind of have given you a lot of the information that our pen pal relationship is continuing on, that we just got the new letters from the students in Nagano along with the video. We too, Pam, we're going to see if we could do more of an email exchange than the hard letters, but I think the younger kids enjoy writing the letters and they decorate them and everything. So, but we thought there's such a lag time between countries, and it's harder to keep our kids focused. So we were going to see if we could adjust that in some way.
And Candy, I don't know how you guys are doing that, and if somebody's assisting you in the school system, or what you're doing, how you identify the students here? Is it outside of school?
It started outside of school, and then one of our board members went to Safety Harbor, and someone in the office was able to gather up some kids, and that's kind of making it difficult because they're not kids that are involved in our program.
Right.
So that's going to be hard to find where they are now.
Yeah.
To continue.
It's really important if the students, if it's going through the school system in any way, that there not be any direct student-to-student emails. They have to go through an adult first, like the high school ones. The kids send me the letters, I read the letters, I send them off, we get letters back, I read those, then I distribute them. So it has to go through an employee who can make sure that there's no inappropriate content.
Okay, I will.
And I can serve that if they need somebody from the school system to do that. But I suspect at Safety Harbor, you've got Danny Burleson, you've got Bill D'Ambrosio, you've got a lot of former Nagano exchange teachers there who I'm sure would be willing to help with that too.
Okay, thank you. In December, we had a Bonakai, which was the first time since April, which we had over 25 people get together, which we thought was a great thing. And I did want to say thank you, Christopher, for the opportunity to do the lanterns. A little disappointed that didn't work out. But I think we had some new people that design lanterns, and I think, they were excited about it.
And Candy, that's a wonderful gesture to continue, even if it, if it's not kind of happening in Japan. It's still you know, it shows our continued interest. I think that's really
Yeah.
great.
And again, Christopher brought it to us that night, so I had it, usually I remember the lanterns, but, you know, my memory is, things were shut down so
And you
much.
posted them on the website,
I did
on
put some on
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
And that, I was so excited to see those. And they were beautiful.
Yeah,
They were beautiful
yeah.
designs, so.
So we had plans to do an in-person membership social this Sunday, but then with the numbers getting up, we decided we're going to try a virtual event on Thursday, February 24th, which we are still planning. We're in the planning stages. And also, we did talk to Christopher about, we've talked about maybe getting involved in a garden at the Clearwater Museum, but the Imagine Clearwater has a garden, and we're trying to maybe look and see what the plans are for that, to see if there's some way we could get involved in the Japanese part of the garden. And that might have more meaning with our group, where the whole community could see it, and just instead of a few people. And, you know, we kind of had already decided that probably exchanges wouldn't work for our students this year with the short amount of time and the uncertainty in the world right now. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Happy to see everybody.
Yes. Thank you very much. Board members to be heard. Does any board member wish to share any information or have any matter that has not yet been mentioned today to be discussed prior to proceeding to adjournment? Okay, seeing none. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Sister Cities Advisory Board?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.
Yay.